Let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to completely rethink the idea that a banana is just some simple grab-and-go snack. Instead, we're unpacking the surprisingly complex biological matrix that actually dictates how it impacts your body.
So, do you really understand the banana? Probably not as well as you think, because the fascinating source material we're looking at today reveals that this everyday grocery staple behaves completely differently inside you based on three main things: its exact stage of ripeness, the time of day you eat it, and your own unique biology. It's a highly dynamic food.
To make sense of all this, we're going to break down the findings into 5 quick chapters: the power of ripeness, a natural sleep aid, the weight gain myth, digestive cautions, and finally, the nighttime blacklist.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the power of ripeness.
There is this incredible Jekyll and Hyde contrast happening here. A green banana is absolutely packed with resistant starch. It acts almost like an internal cleanup crew, literally sweeping out cholesterol and feeding your good gut bacteria. But the moment that skin turns yellow, the whole nutritional profile flips. It transforms into this dense warehouse of antioxidants, a soothing agent for insomnia, and delivers a massive hit of vitamin B6, which is fantastic for reducing PMS symptoms. It's basically 2 entirely different functional foods wrapped in the exact same peel.
To really put the power of that green stage into perspective, let's look at a rigorous medical study on patients with Lynch syndrome. That's a genetic mutation causing a very high risk of hereditary cancer. Patients who ate the resistant starch equivalent of just 1 slightly green banana a day over a 2-year period reduced their hereditary cancer cases by a staggering 2/3. 2/3! That is a jaw-dropping medical benefit from an incredibly cheap piece of fruit.
Moving right along to Section 2, a natural sleep aid.
Leading sleep expert Dr. Michael Brews literally refers to the ripe banana as a natural sleeping pill. And he says this because they contain a remarkably dense combo of magnesium, potassium, and the amino acid tryptophan. When those 3 components work together, they rapidly force your muscles to relax while basically commanding your brain to pump out essential sleep hormones like serotonin and melatonin.
So if you're someone who tosses and turns all night, the source documents provide a pretty brilliant actionable hack. Banana tea. It's super simple. Wash the banana, cut off both ends, and boil the whole thing, skin and all, for about 3 to 5 minutes. Drinking this warm, infused water 1 to 2 hours before bed maximizes your absorption of those relaxing minerals. It doesn't just help you drift off, it actively prevents those super annoying midnight muscle cramps. Just remember that 1 to 2 hour buffer is crucial because your stomach still needs time to digest everything before you actually go to sleep.
Okay, on to Section 3, the weight gain myth.
You know that common fear that eating sweet fruit at night is just going to completely wreck your waistline? Well, the numbers tell a really reassuring story. A medium banana only sets you back roughly 105 calories, which is practically nothing. But more importantly, it contains 3.1 grams of dietary fiber. That fiber is the magic ingredient. It creates a prolonged feeling of fullness and effectively stabilizes your blood sugar. The sources agree, as long as your total daily calories are balanced, eating a banana at night will absolutely not cause weight gain. In fact, that natural sweetness can actually be a clever way to crush your cravings for heavy, highly processed midnight desserts. Now, we do have to look at the other side of the coin for Section 4, digestive cautions. The breakdown from our source material perfectly bridges the gap between the pros and the cons. While it definitely reinforces those health benefits we just talked about, like how green bananas aid in diabetes management and cholesterol, we really have to heed the strict medical cautions too. Anyone dealing with kidney failure, stomach ulcers, or irritable bowel syndrome is strongly advised to limit their consumption. Also, there's a very specific warning here. Do not feed bananas to small children right before bedtime. It can trigger severe bloating and indigestion that will absolutely ruin their sleep.
To understand the science behind those warnings, we've got to talk about sorbitol and fructose. Ripe bananas are absolutely loaded with these natural simple sugars. When they team up with soluble fiber, they travel down into your large intestine and essentially throw a massive fermentation party for your gut bacteria. The unavoidable byproduct of all that fermentation? Gas and bloating. Plus, in larger amounts, sorbitol acts as a powerful laxative. Empathetically speaking, if you suffer from IBS or happen to have a rare fructose intolerance, your specific biology demands that you limit your intake, otherwise you're risking extremely painful cramping and severe digestive distress.
Which brings us to our final chapter, Section 5, the nighttime blacklist.
Both traditional and modern medicine are totally aligned on this. If you fall into any of these 4 categories, skip the banana at the end of the day. First, if you have a cold or asthma, the properties in the fruit can actually increase mucus production and make it harder to breathe. Second, if your stomach is already feeling weak or bloated, throwing in extra fiber and fermentable sugars is just adding fuel to the fire. Third, if you're trying to pull an all-nighter for work, those heavy relaxation properties we covered earlier will actively fight your ability to stay alert. And finally, if you're already tucked into bed and can't go brush your teeth immediately, letting those simple sugars coat your enamel overnight is a massive, massive risk for tooth decay.
Okay, before we officially wrap up our investigation today, there's one last thing we need to do. We need to definitively squash a very widespread rumor about bananas somehow threatening your heart rate. Let's bust the potassium overdose myth right now.
Medical science absolutely proves that this fear is totally unwarranted. To put it in perspective, a healthy adult would literally have to rapidly stuff down 43 bananas in an impossibly short time frame to ever risk a toxic potassium overdose. So when it comes to your standard daily diet, you can completely cross that anxiety off your list.
So now that you hold the complete matrix of rules, the science of ripeness, the timing, and your specific biology, the decision is totally in your hands. Tonight, are you going to brew a warm, soothing cup of banana tea to finally conquer that insomnia? Or will you reach for a green banana tomorrow morning to power up your gut microbiome? Unlocking the true potential of this fruit is all about listening to what your body actually needs. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those great questions, and I'll catch you next time.